Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Sean. Sean is from Ireland in the UK. So let's see what Sean has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hello there.
Hello Sean, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you getting on?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
Oh, not at all. It was such a nice surprise to get the invite, so thank you so much.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So tell me, how was your day today? How's your day going so far?
My day's been good. Today's my busy day, so it was a good, productive, busy day today. I do part of what I do is I do reviews of new episodes of Star Trek, and the new episode was available to review today, so that was the bulk of my day, and it was quite good.
Amazing. And where are you from originally?
So I am Irish, and I live in the southeast of Ireland. I've lived here for I say pretty much all my life because I think I was like 6 months old when we moved here. I was born in the UK.
Oh, I see. And all your family live there as well?
Yes, yeah. So we actually all live quite close together. We did originally live in Dublin together, and then over the years, my sister moved down south, my parents moved down south, I moved down south because there was no reason to be in Dublin anymore. 'Cause it's a very expensive city to live in.
I know. Actually, I've been Dublin a few years ago, and I remember, somebody told us. I went with a group of friends, and they told us it's going to be raining a lot, and also it's very expensive. Guess what? It was February, and it was one of the hottest sunny days in Dublin.
I think that's not surprising because I think what we love to do as well is we love to just break what you're expecting. Just, because yes, Ireland has a reputation and it's earned it for rain all the time. But yeah, every now and again, we'll just like to change things up for the fun.
It was expensive though, however, the weather was just stunning. It was really great. And how far are you from Dublin right now?
About a 2 hour drive. So if you imagine the map of Ireland, I love to describe it like this. So imagine a teddy bear that's sitting down with its feet out and its arms out. So Dublin is kind of the small of Teddy's back. I live in Teddy's bum. That's exactly where I live, right on that curve.
I see. So tell me interesting about the place where you live. Tell me something that maybe is interesting about the city or the postcards. What's something about that you like?
Well, Wexford has so I live in County Wexford, and it has a lot of beautiful things down here. One of the things that I think a lot of people do know, but you know that movie Saving Private Ryan, the one that came out in the 90s, about set in World War II with Tom Hanks.
It rings a bell, but I'm not very familiar.
So it's a Steven Spielberg movie, and the opening scene is set in Normandy in France and the D-Day landings. But it was all filmed here in Wexford in Curracloe Beach because
Oh,
Curracloe
wow.
Beach is a long, beautiful sandy beach that it's one of the most beautiful places to visit in Ireland. We're actually very lucky when it comes to beaches in Wexford because we have a couple of really lovely ones. I have another one very near my home called Kilmore Quay, which is
Uh-huh.
beautiful. And we have a lot of history in Wexford. We're one of the we're not one of the oldest towns, but we're an old town. Um,
I see.
and and also strawberries. If anyone ever tells you something about Wexford, strawberries. We do strawberries well.
Wow, amazing. And tell me, Sean, what do you do for work, for living?
So I have a few things that I do, but my main job is that I work online. I work on YouTube, and I write and I produce videos about Star Trek. So you can probably see the edge of models and everything here and all that. It was something I started doing. It was actually just as Earth closed in 2020. This
Wow.
job started, so it was perfect timing in a way because it's all from home. It's all internet based, so you didn't need to go anywhere, go outside. And since then, I've turned being a massive geek into a job.
Wow. Amazing. I was checking a little bit your profile and I could see some videos about Star Trek. And I've got here some notes that I'm gonna ask you during the interview, okay?
Sure, sure.
So before we start our journey, Will in the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Well, I'm an author and I have two books available on Amazon. And I think the reason I think a lot of people don't know that is because I'm terrible at advertising. I'm really, really bad at doing that. I should tell more people, but yes, so that's something that's interesting.
And what's about your books?
One is straight sci-fi, set in space, spaceships, lots of fun. The other one is it's sort of a dystopia, but it's in the future, but there's no spaceships. It's not like that.
I see.
And yeah, I was a moody 20-year-old, and
Oh,
so that's where that came from.
amazing. Sean, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
100%.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my best full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, right?
Sure.
Let's do it. Yes, you always can join me dancing.
Yes.
Right, so before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Sure. Sure.
First question for you is, what did you think was the most challenging part of being a kid?
I suppose confidence. Confidence and really engaging with other people. Sometimes it could be easy. You'd find your person. And then a lot of times you kind of stumble to understand yourself and then you don't understand others as well. So you can end up having arguments over nothing.
Right. And what was the best part for you of your childhood? When you think about your childhood memories, what's the memory that comes to your mind?
I honestly, the friends that I made, I still have, there's friends in my life that I made when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
We have stayed friends forever. And so a lot of my happiest memories are with them.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I think it gets even happier as the years go by because they're still part of my life. So
It's so interesting. Those friends, they still keep in our life, isn't it? It's
yeah.
so interesting because somehow, sometimes, life separate us, but somehow it gets back again. I think with social media, with the technology nowadays, it brings people together.
I think so. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Next question. Let's do it. All right. Next question is, what motivates you the most in life?
Oh, that's a good one. I suppose I honestly a lot of the time I worry about making a fool of myself. And so I try to do well because I worry sometimes too much about making a fool of myself.
Right.
Other times it doesn't bother me, and I will be silly, and it will be great, and I want people to laugh, and I will try and make them laugh. But that has been on my mind. Try to put out the best version of yourself as well.
And when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what do you like the most about being Sean? What do you like the most about being you?
I'm friendly. I will sit down, and as long as I have the power in me, I will make people feel welcome. I will try and encourage people to speak. I will listen. I and I like to think as well that if if we ever disagree on anything, we'll talk about it. That we won't argue. There's no point in arguing. We'll just talk.
And you always have this mindset.
I've tried to have certainly the last 10 years of my life. It's been like this. Before that, I probably would have had times where maybe I was frustrated, I wasn't communicating myself properly, or I felt like I wasn't being heard. So I took that into myself to go, well, if you feel you're not being heard, are you listening?
Good one. I like that actually. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Right. So before the next question, let's talk about Star Trek. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me when how Star Trek was introduced to you, how your passion about Star Trek started, and when was the moment that you got captured? Okay, that's something that's gonna be part of my life.
It's actually funny because I have a really easy answer for this, and it's all my dad's fault. So he was a big Star Trek fan, and when I mean, I was 2 or 3 years old, and Star Trek was on in the house. We were watching The Next Generation at the time that was airing. And I know, like obviously, I don't remember that time very well. I know I was watching it because I do remember this in 1994. I saw my first Star Trek movie in the cinema. And I remember being very, very excited, and it was a big surprise and everything, because I had watched so much of it on television. So even though I don't remember some of the years before that, I do remember the excitement of that. So since my memory kicks in, I've been a Star Trek fan. And then, as I was a teenager into my 20s, I started getting into other things, and I started watching other shows, reading other books. But it's always been there, so that when, I think it was maybe kind of 2016, 2017, I started getting really into it again. So that when 2020 comes around, and this job goes, oh, we're looking for people to know about Star Trek. And I went, you can take down the sign. I'm here.
And why? What's about what's about the whole series, the whole movie that gets your attention? What's something about it you like that you get attached to it?
What it is that it is one of the few sci-fi series that is set in the future, and it's full of hope. And it
Mhm.
tells us that no matter how bad it is at the moment, and look, it's pretty bad at the moment, and it was bad in the 60s and the 70s, the 80s, but that we as humans will come together. We will figure it out. We will do the right thing because we have to. But it also says it's sort of like, it's, obviously it's future and sci-fi, so it's fictional. But what it tried to do as well is it said, you will go through hell. There will be dark times. And from that, we will go, well, we don't want to do that again. We will try and better ourselves. And that's what I've always loved about it. So there are episodes that are dark, and there are movies that are dark. And, we have a bit of fun with the war episodes and the comedy episodes. But what it's never lost is that bright version of the future that actually, no, we will survive, and we will try and put a message of peace out there. So for me, that
Oh,
has always touched my heart.
amazing, very good. Next question is: if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why?
Paris, because it is my favorite city in the world.
Wow. And
Uh,
why? Why it's your favorite city?
so it's a funny thing, right? So it's both such old world, so full of history, and it's so modern and fun. And I
Mhm.
was I was I was very, very lucky when I was about 20. There was a friend of mine who lived in Paris, so I got to go and visit quite a few times, which means I got to I did the tourist thing. I've done the Eiffel Tower, I've done Versailles, but then I also did, well, I have time, so I'm going to go see other bits. I'm going to go, visit the local cafe. I'm going to go to, the small bar that nobody knows about. I'm going to, go on a walking tour and everything. And what I got from it is just this beautiful. I found it to be quite calm. I know some people will hear me describing Paris as calm and be like, "You haven't been to Paris, have you?" I found it calm,
Yeah.
and I've just always, always loved it. And that would be my straight away answer. Love that city.
Do you speak French or not?
That would be a problem. If I went back to Paris again, it would be like, cafe, or Google Translate.
Oh
Um,
yes, nowadays it's a different story. The back the day for sure.
Big time, big time. Yeah. I learned as well that it's one of those cities that has a reputation for maybe being a bit blunt. Um, I found that if you put a bit of effort in, and if you try to speak a little bit of French, it's they'll be like, okay, listen, I got you. If you walk in and be like, I'm just going to shout my order in English, then I'll be like, well, You're not respecting us. We're not going to respect you.
Right. As you have a big fascination about Paris, I'm gonna share with you a funny story that I'm never gonna forget when I was in Paris. Well, the last time I went there, it was my mom's fifth. I'm from Brazil, so I brought her to Europe for the very first time, and we did like a tour around Europe, and we went to Paris, yeah. And so we went to the Eiffel Tower. You know, there are two. You can get halfway and the very top, the very top. Anyway, so my parents, they are quite young. You know, my mom just turned 60 in March, so I've got young parents. Anyway,
Yeah.
so for her first birthday, we went all the way to the Eiffel Tower on the top, and we were kind of exploring a little bit, walking. Of course, there were a few people around as well. At one point, so my mom was walking in front of me, and one point, this couple, the lady kind of crossing between us, and her husband, her boyfriend, pulled her back and said, "Oh, let her husband pass first." He thought I was my mom's husband. So I started laughing and I told him, she's my mom. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I said, "No, no, no, no. It's her birthday. You made her day. You destroyed my day. However, it's her birthday." So I can do it. So imagine, it's a situation that I'm never going to forget. In the top of Eiffel Tower, someone thought that I was my mom's husband. Well,
Like you say, best thing ever for
I
her.
love her. I love it. I actually felt good for her. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And of course, she couldn't speak English, so she could understand. She could see I was talking to them. And she was like, "Oh, why you are laughing?" And I told her, "Because they thought I was your husband." She was like, "Oh, okay, nice."
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, it was also one of the last memories I have from Paris for sure. I'm never gonna forget. All the time when I pass Eiffel Tower, I'm gonna go like, okay, I'll remember that moment.
That's beautiful, though. I love the memories that we have with our family. That's beautiful.
Absolutely, yes. I loved it. Next question, let's do it. Right. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Oh, that is. I actually, it's funny. The best advice I ever received is that remember everyone in your life is faking it to some extent. No one is, even people who are a master of their field, are not a master at something else. Everybody is winging it. Everybody is just doing their best. So I remember hearing that and I thought that helps my confidence because sometimes you see people who are, they're so incredible at what they do, artists, musicians, singers, painters, sculptors, everything, and they're so, so good. But they have the exact same feelings about they'll look at somebody else who will be
Totally.
so, so good at what they do and everything. And that everyone is just doing their best. So the advice, basically, the long way of saying it, the advice is that don't judge yourself by somebody else's best day.
Totally. Yeah.
Everyone has every day, and you have the same amount of minutes in your day that somebody has in somebody else's. So go easy on yourself, and you'll be okay. That's a long way of saying that.
No, I love that. And actually, it's all about saying that never compare yourself to anyone and never judge the book by its cover, because you need to read through the book to understand more. You know what I mean? What you see there is just, as you said, it's a moment, it's a day. Could be the best day, could be the worst day, could be the most challenging day. You never know. So it's all about giving time and try to understand before making, a concept, making something about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think so. You mentioned as well, pictures as well. One of the great things I love about Instagram. Obviously, we met over on Instagram. One of the great things I love about Instagram is you get to see people sharing happy memories, even sometimes sad memories. They'll share
Yeah,
things, but it will always be a snapshot. You never get the full story, um,
absolutely.
and that's okay. Sometimes you write your own story.
Totally. No, absolutely. Not right or wrong. It's just about for you to understand more what it's about. You know what I mean? Not just like judging about what you see. Sometimes it's just a moment. I like that actually. It's a moment happening right now. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just something that happened. So someone's sharing right now there.
Absolutely.
Great. Another question ready?
Please.
Let's do it. Right. So before the next question, I believe you are a gay guy. You are out, aren't you? You're okay to talk about it?
I am absolutely okay to talk about it. I am out. I identify as pan, so I
Huh?
like everyone. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about your journey as a pansexual guy. Tell me, pansexual mean, yeah?
So I identify as pansexual. I like everyone.
Mhm.
Whether that's male identifying, female identifying, non-binary, trans man, trans woman. Literally, I don't care. As long as you're nice, that's generally, that's what will attract me. And I wish I knew that about myself when I was about 13, 14, and you're trying to figure this stuff out, and you're like,
Mhm.
well, I must be gay. No, I must be straight. No, I must be bisexual. No, actually, I'm gay again. No, and it's very confusing
Yeah,
because you don't at that age you don't tend to know many other people, or certainly, sorry, I didn't know many other people who identified as anything other than straight. And it was nearly university by the time I started to meet other people who were even close to what I felt. Certainly I met out gay men who I identified with, who I you know saw for a little while. I met out gay women who I became friends with, and met other bisexual people, and sort of started to realize I have no idea where I identify in here. So it's about, the last, God, I don't want to say, I'm 36 now. I was in my mid to late 20s before I became more or less comfortable going, I'm not straight, I'm not gay, I don't really know. If I like you, I like you.
I see. Interesting. And during that time, when you were a bit confused about your sexuality, I mean, not confused, but you didn't have much information, it wasn't explicit there. Did you have the support of your family to kind of, find your path or not?
I was very, very fortunate. Yes, I did.
Mhm.
My parents, they're quite young as well. They're like that in their early 60s, and they listened, and the things that they didn't understand and the things that they didn't get, it wasn't a fight.
Mhm.
Our worst days, things might have been quiet,
Right.
but I was lucky. There was no, like, you can't express yourself, or you can't meet people. Certainly, there was a time. It took a little time for them to get comfortable to sort of engage
Mhm.
in my journey, and as a 36-year-old man, I have a lot of sympathy for that. As an
Totally.
18-year-old, you're like, you don't know my life. But which is fair. They didn't know my life, and they didn't understand, and they were trying. But through that, I never felt unwelcome, ever.
Well,
And there was never like a this isn't real, or I was asked, is this a phase? Because I
right.
think I think there is a way of asking that question where it's not an accusation, it's not
Right.
belittling you,
Yeah.
it's their journey to understanding. And then once they realize, like, okay, well, he seems like he at least knows that this will be the foreseeable future. They were very, very kind. Um, I'm sure they'll listen to this and be like, "You thought we were kind? Thanks. We didn't think we were kind." Because
Oh,
we always look back and we're like, "Oh, I should have done this differently, or I should have done that differently." But no, I think I was very, very, very lucky with my family.
so let's say now, both of your parents, they are watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, you have a opportunity to send them a message, to say something to them. What would you say right now?
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to me. Um, you might not have always understood what I was saying, but you listened, and that means the world.
Amazing. Very good. Next question for you is, what's the biggest difference between you and your best friends?
Well, my psychotic love of Star Trek would be one of them. So I have a lot of friends who really like Star Trek. I don't think anyone has the dangerous level of love that I have. That's fine. That's fine. Um, I think that would be the big thing. And then I'm only 36, but I'm old. I don't do nightclubs. I don't do that kind of thing. And a lot of them do. And I just be like, you have a great night. I'll see you in the morning. I'm like that.
And what's the biggest similarity between you and your best friends?
At this stage of my life, a lot of us are interested in the same things,
Mm-hmm.
but also the people I tend to keep in my life are the people I'm comfortable with and the people I trust. So
Mm-hmm.
they would all be good listeners. We would all be interested in the other person. You know, like it means something to me if they have a great day, an okay day, and maybe not so okay day, a terrible day. It means a lot, and I know it's the same for them for me.
Amazing. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
This goes so quickly.
So before the next question, tell me again, let's go back to Star Trek. So tell me which character that's you feel more related to. Did you go like, okay, this you have some connection with it for some reason? The other part of the question is which one is your favorite? You know, it's not that you know it's this you know regardless if it's connected to you or not, but it's your favorite. And the other part of the question is which one you cannot connect with for some reason. You go like, okay, it's difficult for me to connect with you. So 3 in 1 question. What would be?
3-1. Okay, so the character that I think I connect with the most is a character called Dr. Bashir, and
Okay.
he's from a show called Deep Space Nine. And over 7 years, he went from being, sort of the star kid to a bit of a fool to discover something about himself that completely changes his view on the universe. And suddenly a lot of that confidence is rocked, but he always tries to do his best. And then there's other bits that are not like me at all. Like for example, he's a womanizer in the first couple of seasons. I'm not very good at that. Um, and but but yeah, he always is he's not afraid to be silly. So I
Right.
think I identify a lot of that. My favorite character would be there's a character called Garrick who is a spy,
Uh-huh.
uh, and the guy who plays him is just perfect, just absolutely perfect. Like, you never trust this man for a second, and yet you love him. It's so well written. And then a character I'm not like at all. I'd love to say I was like Spock, but I'm not like Spock at all. Uh, but Spock is like he's up there. I'm down here somewhere. He's brilliant, but yeah. But also, I'm always walking around with a smile. He isn't.
It says a lot.
I like to think so.
Next question is what makes you most proud?
um, I this is always weird because do you ever get this with somebody else where like kind of say something you're proud of doing and they're like, oh well, I don't like, I'm not proud of anything and I'm useless and I'm a terrible person. No, I am proud of a few things. Proud of my books.
Mhm.
I am proud of. I did play the piano for a long time and I've played a couple of concerts, which I'm
Wow.
super proud of. I did that when I was in school, so it's a while ago. It's a while ago, but and I think as well. So I think we all can identify with. I've had a journey with mental health in my time,
Mhm.
and one thing I'm very proud of is I'm still here. In
Good.
without in the world as it is, I'm still here. I still want to make people happy. I want to be happy. I am. I will be selfish about that. I want to be happy. I don't think there's anything wrong with being selfish if you're not hurting other people. Um, and that's something I'm proud of because I think it would be I would forgive anyone who gets buried by everything that's going on today. Uh, and I suppose if I could say to anyone is just keep going. Tomorrow is a different day.
Do you believe that happiness is a choice?
I believe I believe that there will be things that will test you every
Mm.
day of your life. I believe you may not be able to choose how you feel about that. What you can choose is how you react. Um, and and I know that can sound very simple, and I'm not trying to say that anyone is right or wrong for how they react to things, but I'm saying that that is something that we can make a choice about. And I've yet to meet the person who will make the right choice every single time. Maybe that person exists. I don't think they
I don't
do.
think.
I don't think that person exists. So I think that I don't think happiness is a choice, but I think that we can make choices that will get us there.
And do you feel like you are living your best life right now? I mean, in this time of your life?
I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good right now. And I took some very unexpected steps to get here.
Mhm.
I, back 2020, I was living in Dublin City. I was in a corporate job. I was didn't particularly like, but sure, it paid the bills. I was in, excuse me, I was in a marriage that was on its way toward ending, and I thought, oh my God, I can't see a brighter tomorrow. I can't see that this is going to be great. Then the pandemic shocked us all, and via that, I can now happily say that my relationship, though it ended in the most friendly way possible.
Amazing.
Um, it was, I had dinner with him 2 days ago.
Wow,
It's all good.
amazing.
The job that I was in came to an end. I moved into the job I'm doing now, which it's still weird to call it a job because it doesn't feel like a job. Um, and and yeah, I mean, and like everyone in the world, listen, if I could have the abs, I would be there. But I'm about 90% of the way to my best life.
Amazing. Two questions left. Let's do it. But before the next one, tell me about your YouTube channel.
So it's called Trek Culture,
Mhm.
and what it is in a nutshell, it's a Star Trek review channel.
Okay.
We review all the new episodes as they come out, but we do more than that. Like we're like deep dive in. We'll talk about the various ships that are in it. One thing we've started doing over the last about year, which I'm so excited about, is we speak to directly to the people making the shows. We've
Wow.
reached out for interviews. We've had guests on, which has just been wonderful, wonderful feeling for me as a fan. Like it feels amazing. It's like, oh my God, you made this show that I love. And hearing their stories,
Uh-huh.
and talking to people who were on the show back in the 90s, when when making television looked very different from what it looks like today.
Mhm.
And seeing their reactions to Star Trek that's coming out at the moment as well. It's been fun, it's been incredible.
For you personally, do you prefer when you watch Star Trek movies? Do you prefer the old ones or the most recent ones, modern one?
For the movies, I prefer the older ones.
Okay.
Um, and I think a lot of that is because I grew up with them, and then there was a big gap for a long time. So the
Mhm.
last of I call it the older ones came out 2002, and then there was a gap until 2009, 2012, and they're lots of fun. But like I grew up with the older ones. For the television shows, because the TV shows they've been going from the 60s right through to now. Like there was, let's say, a new episode out today. Um, I think my favorite one is still that one that came out in the 90s, DS9. So that ran 93 till 99.
Right.
Look, some of the ones that come out today are just so much fun. It's also what's fun is seeing Star Trek that's got a budget. Today it has money, It's like, oh, that looks different.
And your dad still a big fan as well, still, since he introduced to you?
He is. I think he didn't realize what a monster he was creating when he introduced me to Star Trek. I think there's a few times where he's gone, ah no, Sean, that's a bit much. And I'm sitting here in my museum of Star Trek going, it's your fault, Dad. You did this. He's like,
Oh,
at what point does it stop being his fault? And I'm like, no, there's no escape. But he still watches all the new stuff and everything.
oh, sweet. Right. Next question is, which question you don't have an answer for?
Um, how do I make the world make sense?
Interesting.
Um, and I suppose there isn't a way.
That's true.
Just do your bit, be kind, share
Hmm.
kindness, listen. And if you feel yourself getting mad at someone, take a breath, have a coffee. There's never any point. Oh, actually, I have another one. Another question I don't have an answer to is why do people leave mean comments?
It's true.
Why do people do that? Well, how does it feel good? Yeah.
Last question. Ready?
Ready, ready.
Do it. Last one. Right, but before the last question, people who read your book or will read your book, what you want them to take with them after they read your books?
Oh. Have fun.
Mhm.
Have fun. Because one of my books is very, very dark. Yeah, I was moody. And I don't really, in a way, like I've grown so much since I wrote that. I
Yeah,
myself am a much happier person than I was when I wrote that. So I suppose if somebody was to read that, go, look, the guy who wrote this found a brighter future.
right.
So if you are in there at the moment, don't think it's always going to be that way. I know this sounds like a big statement and everything, but I really mean that. The other one is, the sci-fi one. Just I hope you like the sci-fi that I wrote. There's so much sci-fi out there. I hope you like my little corner of it.
And when you talk about, the darkness in your book, it's all related to the place where you were at the time?
Yes, 100%. In fact, exactly where I was is the global recession. The 2008 one had just kicked off. I did not have. I knew nothing about the world. All I knew is that no one's gonna have any more money,
Mhm.
and I the way I processed that was well then what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And so I did that by I was a history student. I have a degree in history. So I went, well, if I go backwards and I look at what happened in the world to get to today, and then I said, right, I'm going to imagine, right, I'm going to set a makey up day. So I said, I think it was like 100 years in the future. So now try and write the history of the next 100 years based on the fact no one's got any more money. What's it going to be? Um, and it was a pretty dark place to go to for a while because, like what happens when people run out of money? Well, they're not particularly nice sometimes. And to try and imagine a world where, okay, well, if money isn't the thing,
Mhm.
does that mean there'll be no more greed? No, no, it doesn't. So, what would that look like? And that came from sitting in 2008 and going, oh my God, what's about to happen?
See. All right. Last question is, what's something that you won and how did you win it? Something special.
Um, okay, if I'm going to go long, long time back, right? So I'm a teenager at this point, and I'm starting to learn how to play the piano, and I was running before I could walk. So somebody, my teacher would put my book in front of me, and said, "Okay, learn how to play Ba Ba Black Sheep," and I was like, "I want to play the theme from Jurassic Park. I want to play Star Wars. I want to play." And he was just like, "And you can, but you have to learn this bit first." And I went, "Okay, well, I'm gonna cheat." And I think I spent like a month working on the Moonlight Sonata, the Beethoven piece, and it was every day, every day. Thank God I had headphones. My parents would have killed me. And I was working on the keyboard, and eventually I came in and I sat down at the piano and I played it for my teacher, and he went, "Okay, well done, mother. Here's your notes and everything." What I didn't know is then he then submitted me to it was basically a kind of a performance concert as part of the academy. So what I
Wow.
wanted to do, I said, this is the kind of piece that like I can imagine playing this on like a grand piano in a church with candlelight. And I'd been playing piano for less than a year, and I played the Moonlight Sonata on a grand piano in a church via candlelight. And that is one of the things I'm proudest about in my life.
Wow. And you still can play sometimes, or can you play or not?
I,
Still.
I still can play. I haven't practiced in forever, but I still
Right.
can play every day. I'll sit down at a piano and probably play the same few notes again and again, and people are like, "Sean, can you stop now? Thanks very much." Like that's fair. That's fair.
I don't think so. You're just being modest right now. And what was the feeling when you were playing? Tell me, when you think about, when you look back, what was the joy when you were doing it?
It was just the feeling that I get from hearing that music.
Wow.
It was the hope that somebody else would feel that hearing me play that, and that
Wow.
I could be a part of their journey.
Wow. Beautiful. Very good. Right, so then, Jet, let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's
Okay.
start with family,
Home,
money,
debt,
Fear.
Hope.
Life.
Death.
Love.
Heart.
Sex.
My first thought was, nah.
Okay. Religion.
Belief.
Politics.
Belief.
Friendship.
Love.
Desire.
Love.
Regret.
Useless.
Success.
Hope.
One word for wish.
Dream.
One word for happiness.
Love.
One word for Dublin.
Expensive.
That was very quick. Expensive.
Yeah.
Ireland, one word.
Green.
If you could define your books in one word, what that would be?
Future.
And the last one now, Star Trek, one word.
Home.
Interesting. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend. Define Sean in one positive word and one negative word only. What your best friend would say?
Hopefully funny and stubborn.
Mm. And if that's the same question to your lovely parents, it would be the same answer?
Yes, but you'd probably say like, oh, I think they might say late as well.
Amazing. Let's play now, Sean and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Right, Sean, you can ask me a question now.
So, okay, so I've gone back and I've watched a bunch of your videos. So my question to you is, how do you feel knowing that you are bringing smiles and happiness to random people on the internet?
Oh my God, that was a lovely question. You make me shy now. Oh, you know what, Sean? I believe that's when you do something with love, when you do something like that's you don't feel like you just feel like you are enjoying, have a great time. I think people they can feel that. When I see your eyes shining, talking about Star Trek, about your journey so far, it's the same feeling as well. I think people they even though they don't know you or they never met you before, but sometimes they can see the real person sometimes, or when you express yourself, they can see something about it. So I think it's all about for me as soon as I see here, I'm gonna tell you the most exciting part for me of the interview when I send a request through Zoom, and I keep like waiting here, and when I accept, the request, and I accept when I click hit accept, and I just keep like, my God, how is going to be when you know what I mean? Somehow, of course, I've seen the people already, but in pictures, in videos, of course, but I don't know. I'm just so excited about for the first time I'm gonna see my guests, because I know we're gonna make memories. You know what I mean? So for me, it's very exciting for me, and I feel like I'm talking to a friend. Every interview I do, it's so interesting. Sometimes comes up the same question, but of course with different answers. So back to your question, it's all about express myself and let my guests express themselves as well, and connect with people around the world. So that's the biggest joy of the show for sure.
Well, I'm so happy because this has felt so comfortable. I mean, obviously, like before today, we've never met, and I feel like I've been chatting to you for years.
It's great, isn't it? It's great. It's a great feeling. And again, I couldn't connect with you if you could not connect with me. It's like sharing energy right now. It's all about sharing energy. You know what I mean? I couldn't be myself if you could not be yourself. And I think it's all about you being yourself and just, having a great time. And trust me, I feel the luckiest when I'm here. I could be doing that for 24 hours because it just bring the best of me when I'm doing the interviews for sure. Yeah.
That makes me so happy. That makes me.
Did you have a good time?
I had a lovely time. This has been so much fun. Yeah. Oh, my cheeks are hurting from smiling. So yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for bringing this great energy to the show. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I remember somebody saying this to me years ago. Cry if you have to, but remember somebody could be falling in love with your smile.
Oh, that's sweet. That's very nice. That's so true. You know what I heard once? peace starts with a smile.
Yes.
Doesn't
Yes.
it? It's straight away. It brings something. It's impossible someone smile at you and you cannot smile back or laugh. It's contagious, isn't it? It's something about it. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on the show, Sean. And you keep in touch, okay? Regards to your family and your friends, and you keep in touch, okay?
Likewise. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.